London, a city known for its history, beauty, and charm, hides many secrets within its old streets, but none are as horrifying as the story of Dennis Linson, the man who brutally murdered at least 12 young men and boys between 1978 and 1973. And where did he commit these crimes? Inside a simple flat in apartment number 23 on Cranley Garden. What makes this case even more chilling is how Dennis disposed of his victims, flushing their remains down the very drains that eventually led to his capture. Stay tuned as we dive deep into the terrifying world of Dennis, a man who came to be known as the Muswell Hill murderer. Dennis was born in 1945 in Scotland. He grew up in a troubled household where his parents had a strained relationship and eventually separated. This instability in his early years might have laid the foundation of the disturbing urges he would later act upon. As a young adult, Dennis joined the British Army and served as a cook. It was during this time that his fascination with death and the human body began to develop. Although he left the military after 11 years, the skills and discipline he learned during his service would later play a crucial role in his horrific crimes. In 1978, Dennis moved to 195 Melrose Avenue in Cricklewood, London, where his killing spree began. His victims were often young men who were homeless or in vulnerable situations. Dennis would lure them to his flat with the promise of food, alcohol, or shelter. Once inside, he would strangle them, sometimes drowning them in a bathtub, and then perform rituals on their bodies. Dennis' first victim was 14-year-old Stephen, whom he met at a pub. After killing him, Dennis kept the body hidden for months, sleeping next to it and eventually dismembering it. Over the next 5 years, Dennis would repeat this horrifying pattern, killing at least 12 young men and boys. One of the most disturbing aspects of Dennis' murders was how he disposed of his victims' bodies. He would often keep the corpses in his flat for days or even weeks, talking to them, cleaning them, and even posing them in different positions. When the decomposition became unbearable, Dennis would dismember the bodies using knives, separating them into smaller pieces. But here's where it gets truly horrifying. Instead of burying the remains, Dennis decided to dispose of them in the most ridiculous way, by flushing them down the drain. He began cutting up the bodies and attempting to flush parts of them, like skin, bones, and flesh, down the toilet and into the building's drainage system. However, this plan would soon unravel, leading to his downfall. In Feb 1983, the residents of 23 Cranley Garden began complaining about blocked drains. Plumbers were called in, and what they discovered shocked everyone. The drains were clogged with what appeared to be pieces of human flesh and bones. After they found it, they alerted the police.
I ask you to start filming from the feet slowly up to the head. And you go sit pan. Bloody hell, don't you ever watch movies? You must see thousands of movies. You must know what it's like. They're training chimpanzees at Cape Canaveral to operate a camera. Anybody can do it.
When the police arrived at Dennis' apartment, they found him surprisingly calm. In fact, when confronted, Dennis immediately confessed, saying, "It's a long story, it goes back a long time. I will tell you everything." And tell them everything he did. Over the course of several interviews, Dennis described in chilling detail how he killed and dismembered his victims, disposing of their bodies in trains and even burning some remains. Dennis was charged Dennis was charged with 6 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder, though he later admitted to killing at least 12. His trial began in October 1983 and the jury was presented with horrifying details of his crimes, including photographs of the remains found in his apartment. Dennis' defense argued that he was suffering from diminished responsibility due to a mental disorder. However, the jury found him guilty of 6 murders, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 25 years. The sheer brutality of his crimes and the calculated nature of his actions left a mark on British criminal history. Dennis spent the rest of his life in prison, where he was known to write memories and reflect on his actions. He died in May 2018 at the age of 72 due to complications from surgery. To this day, the story of Dennis remains one of the most horrifying cases of serial murder in the UK. His ability to live a seemingly normal life while committing such gruesome acts behind closed doors continues to haunt those who remember the case. And while apartment number 23 on Cranley Garden has long since been cleaned, what happened there can never truly be erased. This was the terrifying story of Dennis, the man who used his apartment to commit unspeakable crimes, a tale that reminds us of the darkness that can sometimes hide behind ordinary faces and ordinary doors. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more true crime stories. And remember, even in the safest places, sometimes the most horrifying secrets can be hidden.